Just about to try my first combo trip ever of DMT and Mdma. Just dosed with my Mdma and I'm about to try the DMT. I am so excited. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this video yet, but I do want to document everything, at least for my own personal reasons now, and how it may therapeutically help or evolve the lives of others, or at least be able to share experiences, the familiarities, the differences, the other things that could be unique about it and the perspective. So I am excited to get started here, and I will be sharing more soon after. Can't wait to blast off. Woo! Welcome to my first ever DMT and Mdma combo trip report and the full video recording, something I was a little hesitant to do at first, but then I finally, it's kind of ironic because I work in adult work and I use cameras for different things all the time, especially more explicit things, but finally I decided to use the tripod. My partner, shaman, other half, and trip sitter, sometimes trip buddy, helped me set it all up. The camera was on, and he helped me dose the Mdma. I did that at around 7:45 p.m. Took me about 10 to 15 minutes. I decided to let the dose sink in. I was meditating in a sense at first. My eyes were closed. I was seeing my own reflective form of the light glowing inwards, starting to do my breath work, breathing deep in and out, and really trying to ready myself, because MDMA can sometimes give you, more extroverted, just like, instant excitement. But I wanted to kind of ground myself too in the peaceful kind of ecstasy that sometimes I know that space so well when I dose MDMA and want to kind of ignite that at certain times. So this time around, the courageousness yet the calmness was there. Took my first 3 hits. And the first hit kind of tasted like mothballs, which is so normal to me usually when I do DMT and smoke it this way. The other 2 are blending together, and at that point, it was like one big hit. I was catapulted, somewhat a familiar realm. The ecstatic, blissful vibes, once again, were just kind of resonating through me, igniting into my soul. The etched pattern started to appear before me. A triangular, reflective, closed-eye glow kind of made itself out of my vision, shadowing, appearing, and then walking away. Seems like maybe this was the perspective shift and actually seeing the aspect of my actual soul and essence of energy igniting out of my body, not feeling entrapped or encased anymore, and lovingly transforming myself into vast, infinite oneness of sacred space, yet collectively feeling that I was in the element that I needed to be, and soaring onwards into that even more. Divine realms, divine feels. The entire experience around 8 minutes. Decided to choose the song Rosetta Stone by Tool because it's a classic DMT psychedelic song, and I kind of like that there's a little bit of paradox with it. I kind of like to play into that. It made me feel whimsical and it made me feel silly, but also really, really good all at once, igniting a lot of my spirit and that optimistic yet silly essence all at once too. Starting the journey, and wow, what an everlasting wave it felt like, taking me away, soaring, flowing, floating into this beautiful space, noticing continual sacred geometry patterns, 3D visualizing before me, and they are swirling, they are hovering around me, so profoundly, eyes still closed, so immersed at what will take over me next. I mean, it was fascinating, sacred, beautiful, intricately aligned, and it felt like my spiritual quest really was centered this time. It was just perfect with every moment, time totally melting away in a sacred space of dualities, of the openness and unfolding of my utmost ecstatic, extroverted nature, along with the highest vibrational, loving, and the loving, interconnected yet swarming forms of bliss the DMT can give me, of what is at my inner core, and that I know this, considering that just sense I get when my chakras are aligning during certain peak points of our solo DMT experiences. Now, a feel of an entity was very present at this point. It definitely felt like, though, it was a dualistic kind of yin-yang, loving kind of wave. And considering how ecstatic it was, the MDMA, the DMT kicking in together, what a revelating, trippy, ecstatic aura, igniting both of the energies and just the fluid points of both me and my partner centering our love beyond our bodies. It was the feeling we always had together all along. I just felt so connected with that, like we were really magnetizing together and going into this hyperspace. But it was just our essence of soul. Bodies weren't really noticeable at this point. It'll be interesting to see that during the first beginning that I am just snoring. It sounds like I'm just in a very, very deep sleep. So anyone who might be perhaps a little bit afraid to try this for the first time, knowing just how intense people describe it as, it really is all in the realms of what your mind is showing you, along with, of course, the dimethyltryptamine chemicals, having that spark of the influence of what's in the chemicals and, the action of, as a result, how it works. So both influence and the workings of the chemical really do ignite quite an experience. Amazing, really. I was exotically moved. I felt so synchronized into this trippy, sacred type of energy, yet so celebratory, so ecstatic, and just so happy, like hype happy, that I was ready to just stay centered within it, so peaceful and just breathing on. And what would I see next? So grateful that my shamanistic Buddha guide, who may end up responding to some of these comments as well, especially if it's specific questions for a shaman or trip sitter. And of course, he has so much psychedelic experience from past trips and definitely future ones, so feel free to ask away for either of us. Now, back to the sacred geometry. Swirling, everlasting, transforming, and then transforming into more sacred characters. Some I feel like I've seen recently. Kind of like exemplifications of like certain like psychedelic festival characters or like classic like ayahuasca like creatures. And they all wanted to join together. Some sacred objects, but then they morphed into characters. And then that main entity was before me. Went from an angelic figure to kind of like a steeplehead style. And then some combined into a Buddha structure. Rainbow LED aspects were also kind of sparkling and then forming into more of a 3D shape. It all felt like this celebratory, ecstatic festival, almost like ayahuasca could have been served next, but I have never actually done that. Who knows about the future? But if anyone's ever heard of the Elro Festival, definitely looked like a lot of the characters in that, but there was some other kind of essence to them. One that's kind of hard to describe at this point, but wow, they were blissful. They were just kind of waving and washing over me. They were intact. Just seeing how I was feeling, dancing around me in this divine space as I was just watching this beautiful, connected dance of all these characters and the energy of my partner kind of magnetizing and just kind of connecting with me, kind of in a dancing realm and form. It was like we were all moving together in this sacred, psychedelic type of cool, weird, trippy dance, and I loved it all. It felt like me and my other half belonged there. We belonged with these characters. And nothing was stopping me from getting into this divine space and continuing on here. Introspectively, I was fascinated. I was mesmerized. I couldn't believe this was happening. Just kind of like how the song, expresses in Rosetta Stone, as you can hear from the lyrics now. Definitely a very perfect song to put on for this. Now, considering the intention I had about this trip and my spiritual quest intention overall, always looking to kind of revelate and evolve and see what else I can unlock about my internal and eternal self. Maybe even putting new ideas of my inner expressiveness into fruition outwards. Definitely something I'm still trying to work on and integrate with certain experiences today, say exotically, expressively, even in like dancing realms. It all can combine, and it really makes me feel like the eternal seed I planted for my own extroverted nature and self-expression to continue to just blossom and flourish, and psychedelic sex goddess energy, profound energy pleasures and treasures, never to go amiss, but totally igniting, almost in like this intentional, exotic type of trippy kiss. It was all in my soul, but yet in all of the other pleasure points within my body. Blissful, ecstatic, soul bonding on another level from both self-love and the love I felt with my partner in this celebratory, sacred little festival. It was so awesome, beyond words. And of course, seeing my cat to check on me, kind of looking up, making sure that I'm okay. It was the sweetest thing. The most wholesome way to end the experience, just about. Seeing his tribal markings was adorable. He always has this kind of like third eye, sacred energy about him, trippy energy as well. And I'm very grateful that, especially with DMT, as someone who was never a cat owner before, I felt like we had this cool little bond when we would do these journeys. I'd always look forward to his presence coming in, and I always loved seeing just how beauteous either tribal markings or maybe like a neon glow of like vast colors was just, swarming around him, almost like he had a new fur coat on him, or even looked like a Lisa Frank cat. Definitely a morphin kitty in some of these trips, and it was so, so adventurous. The most divine time. Wasn't even worried about the time. Everything just melted away into this inner light, and I felt very much in my natural essence and my own form of knowing of utmost confidence, really. And that was something I was very much trying to keep and only evolve onwards at this time. Confidence is key, right? And in this kind of crazy yet ecstatic, wild, celebratory hyperspace, I felt like it was only celebrating all that much more that I could bring out as a result of the feeling and the entire essence. Not only just of me, but every other energy, entity, and the beauty and magnificence of these sacred characters all around me. What a party it was. Do I want this to flourish and ignite into a real life kind of a psychedelic celebration? Wow, maybe one day. You just never know what can happen. And these kind of realms and these kind of dimensions really can unlock so much mystery, magic, and opportunity that you never thought possible existentially, exponentially, and in the most excited, ecstatic realm, especially combining such a sacred, loving kind of substance as MDMA. One I'm very grateful for and have had very, very moving and ever-changing experiences. I met the love of my life on MDMA, who is now my shaman and trip buddy. So combining it with such an intense and powerful psychedelic as DMT, one that some people step away from or it takes some time to get into, I felt after, I would say it was 9 years before my first experience, these continuous sessions were just getting that much more adventurous, ever-growing, soul bonding, and just so impactful and fun. And cannot wait to continue integrating the divine DMT, trippy headspace, and imagination onwards. It's all about mindset, set setting, and intention, and this one was a total knock out of the park, you could say, or knock out of the hyperspace I thought I was going to anticipate. I cannot wait until the next time. Now, has anyone else ever done an MDMA and DMT combo trip? I'm curious what kind of results you got. Did you feel less anxious for the entire come up of like the breakthrough point? Did you end up seeing the waiting room, or were your visuals not quite as intense as you expected? I thought it was the perfect sweet spot of not feeling so almost like, you're gonna die feeling or that falling feeling. Like coming out of your existence, it kind of made that happen in kind of a very peaceful, kind of floating type way, floating onwards into the space, knowing that space in an even more ecstatic, exuberantly confident way. And I think it made the presence of the entities just kind of want me to vibe in this space, kind of meditate in the space of intense, ecstatic feels, bliss, and essence. And it was exactly where where I felt I belonged, meshed into that moment. And so much magic immersed throughout. It was magnificent and just extrovertedly wild. Perfect to continue the mindset for the night.